Before the point that this demonstration begins, we've received an email from Examiner Choi that invites us to a WebEx conference. The WebEx conference is hosted by the PTO's website. We've clicked through the email and we're typing in our user ID. Good morning, Examiner Choi.
Good morning, Attorney Ernie. I'm sorry, Attorney Ernie. Sounds kind of weird. First time saying it.
I've said it many times myself. It always gets a laugh.
Okay.
This is great to see you in person like this without having to either be at your home or at the patent office, wherever you're working today. It looks like you're in your office?
Yes, I'm in my office and love the tool, WebEx.
Oh, good. Well, we're going to add something to WebEx that isn't that often used. We're going to add desktop sharing today. And what I'd like you to do is make me the presenter. I've loaded up all the documents that I think we're likely to look at today. And I'm going to walk us through the documents so it makes more sense for me to be the presenter than for you.
Okay, great. I'm changing you as a presenter.
Okay. Then I will share both Word and Acrobat with you, because those are the two programs that I'm using today to show the things that we're going to be looking at. I sent you an agenda for the meeting. Did you get that okay?
Yes, I did.
What I think works pretty well is for me to describe the technology that's disclosed with reference to the figures. There's one word that's used in this application, in these patent claims, that's pretty important: single action. So I'll take us to the specification and show you where I think there's a pretty good definition of single action. I've highlighted the specification in a way that shows you more than 100 times that single action is used at different places. You know, with the technology disclosed in mind, what I'd like to do then is go to the actual claims and look at the wording of the claims, and finally, if we need to, we'll look at the Joseph reference. I've got the figures loaded up here, and let me walk you through the figures that I listed on the agenda. First, I've got figure 2, and the whole reason for showing you figure 2 is so that we don't have any 101 concerns. I got lots of hardware here. I've got client hardware, I've got server hardware, all the traditional software components that are involved on both sides. There wasn't any 101 rejection, but I just thought it would be useful for you to see that we've really got hardware involved. Are you okay with that part of it?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Now this is what the actual flow is like. The new technology we have is going to be great for people who shop online using their desktop. You know, one of the statistics that's out there is that using the standard shopping cart model, you know, some substantial portion of the people fill up their shopping cart and walk away from it. You know, you can imagine what a problem that is in a grocery store. Well, it's a little bit of a problem in closing sales over the web. 15, 25, 30% of shopping carts get abandoned. So we've come up with a way to make it easier for somebody to check out. We will generate a regular web page with a shopping cart model, and if the customer, if you've signed up to have this added feature, we'll also generate a link on the page that allows you with a single action to check out without having to fill in your name and credit card number and everything else. The way it looks on a web page is like this. You've got your standard summary of the item. You've got the option to put it in the shopping cart if you're going to buy a lot of different things. You also have this new one-click option, single action option, where if we click this one button, it puts it in the shopping cart, it associates it with our information, and it puts it in the queue to ship to us. That's pretty darn cool as far as I'm concerned. Being able to buy something without spending a lot of time at it. That's the reason you shop on the web, isn't it? Not to type in your credit card number.
Yeah. Single action sounds great.
Okay. Now, the question of what single action means, is the kind of thing that always comes up. So I highlighted how many times we use single action so that you wouldn't feel like it was an ambiguous term. And in particular, this is the part of our specification towards the end where single action is given a pretty clear definition, a key pressed. A pointing device, it could be speaking a few words, so a voice command here. There are a variety of different single actions. That's why we don't call it a single click, a one click, instead of single action, because we imagine that in time people are going to talk to their computer instead of using the mouse. With that in mind, let's switch to the claim language. I'd like to go through the claim language and see if you think that it does a good job of capturing the technology that's disclosed. So first we're talking about what's happening on the client side of the system. We're displaying information, identifying the item. That was in that figure 1A that we showed you. And then in response to a single action, both shown in the flow chart and that button that was on figure 1A, sending a request to order the item along with the identifier of the purchaser and of the item to the server system. So on the client side, you click one button and it's off to the server. On the server side, we receive the request. We go into our data store where the server's already received the purchase information. The server's not making up the credit card number, it's looking it up. We generate the purchase order, and then we go ahead and fulfill the purchase order. Now, I suppose that's a step that I might want to take out of the claim, but you have to fulfill an order for it to be practical. The last thing is to make it clear that the user has the option of either ordering using the shopping cart model or using this one click. Now, I think in the office action you said that this whereby clause wasn't getting any patentable weight from you. Can you explain that a little bit for me?
The whereby clause is somewhat of a functional limitation. In addition to that, the term without is also a negative limitation where that's probably the reason why I'm not giving a whole lot of patentable weight.
Okay. Well, let's see if we can. So suppose we were to add a little bit of language here that takes the same concept that we have down here of the shopping cart model, but instead of putting it in a whereby clause, it moves it into the body of the claim. If we were to move the shopping cart up there, would you give it patentable weight?
It reads differently, and now you're connecting the display information with a functional limitation. So I think that giving, as an examiner, I have to give more patentable weight compared to the whereby clause.
Okay. Well, let's see if that's good enough to distinguish over the art that you've cited. The main art that you've cited, let's get to your office action here. Okay, here's your office action. That's where you're talking about the whereby clause. And here's where you're talking about Joseph. I've set it up here so that I can just click on this and we'll see what you're relying on. In column 8, Joseph is talking about one of these home purchasing late night cable TV networks where you permanently set up your identification, and the only way that you can order something is by using the remote control on your TV.
Right.
Now, Joseph doesn't have the shopping cart and isn't trying to offer an alternative to the shopping cart. So I think you indicated in the office action that if we were to make this kind of amendment, if we were to move the limitation from the whereby clause into the claim itself, that we'd be okay, that we distinguish over Joseph.
That's what I stated, yes.
Okay, so with that claim language in mind, have we accomplished what you were suggesting?
I think so.
Okay. Down in claim 11, I noticed that we probably had to clean up one little antecedent reference issue because we're going to have to use a definite article. Displaying information, and we'll put the same limitation in that we had above. Purchasable. And in this case, I think it's all right that the whereby clause isn't going to be given patentable weight because we've got the positive limitation up here. And the thing that I like about this claim is that it doesn't include that fulfilling step that happens in the warehouse. It really focuses on the on one perspective of the computer operation instead of the back office operations.
Right.
So this is how I'd propose to amend claim 11. And we can still leave the whereby clause in there, even though it's not a positive limitation of the claim, because it helps somebody understand what's going on.
Yeah, I think so too. Because previously you had, first of all, it's a method claim, and then you had clearly identifying the item and then purchasable through a shopping cart model, which was kind of similar to the apparatus claim, and then you're further clarifying by the whereby clause. So that looks great.
Okay. So what I'd like to do is get your agreement that I can put in the interview summary that these amendments are considered by you to distinguish over the art of record. I know you'll have to do a supplemental search, that always happens. But is it okay with you if I summarize the interview as having resulted in an agreement? Just as distinguishing over the art of record.
I think so. It does distinguish over the current grounds of rejection, so you can state that for the record.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.